Hey y'all, welcome to week 12 of Stay Classy and Choose Love. How are you guys? Big week for me. Started my new job. It's so good. I think going back to nursing might go down as like one of my top bravest choices ever. Top 3 probably. Because it was so scary. The idea of like going back and relearning all the things and being the newbie in some ways. And you guys, let me just tell you, this week has been with the job so good for my heart. There's just been so many pieces of it. I walked into a skills like refresher on how to use their like glucose monitoring system, and it was like an in-person class, and I sit down for the class and in walks one of my old students that just graduated nursing school, and she was like, "Oh my god, Miss Katzenberger, why are you here?" And I'm like, to relearn all the things, and I'm loving it. I'm loving every minute of it. Like it's been really good for my heart in so many ways, and not nearly as awful as I thought it was going to be. You know, like I knew it was going to be challenging, and I know I'm only a week in. I still have a lot that I need to relearn, but you guys, it's good. It's so good. My heart is so happy with this decision. Now, I've run into a ton of students this week, and there's this part of me that's kind of like, God, what are you trying to tell me with that? And it's interesting. Everett asked me yesterday, he's like, does that make you sad? And no. You know, there's this piece where I almost feel like it's this reminder that what I've done the past decade is still so meaningful, right? Because there was a moment this week where somebody was like, well, how long have you been a nurse? And I had to pause for a minute and be like, 19 years. I graduated nursing school 19 years ago. I haven't been bedside for 15 years. So there's this piece of me where it's like, sure, I've had that license for a long time, but man, I haven't practiced in a really long time. And so it's humbling. It's a humbling adventure, but I'm so glad that I got to do it and that I am doing it. Tomorrow is my first day with an actual nurse on the labor and delivery floor. Thursday, I ended by spending the morning with one of our OR scrub techs it was phenomenal. It was just phenomenal to learn how the unit really works. It was great to have time with them and just see the things, right? Like just super excited to dive in tomorrow into more of the real nursing stuff. There's still a lot to relearn. I have a ton of modules that I'm completing online for them, and Thursday afternoon I got to do a skills lab where I went in and I practiced starting an IV and inserting Foley catheter and those type of things, the skills piece that I've been most intimidated to relearn. And it was surprising to me, A, how much came back to me, and B, just how much, because I'm loving it. It's so good. And it's been a really good distraction because the week in general has been a heavy emotional roller coaster of a week. So I gotta tell you, I'm gonna hit pause for this week in talking about Jeremy and I's story, because I just need to give you guys like a life update outside of the career and talk about my heartache this week. So let me pause for a second and tell you that when I lost Jeremy, I developed this really strong fear about growing old alone. Having somebody to love, having Jeremy in my life, taught me the beauty of love and how amazing it can be to have that best friend to do life with. And I have craved that sort of companionship ever since I've lost him. I joke with Ashley about it that it's almost like I think having Jeremy was like having an addiction to like the Hollywood cocaine that makes you like big and beautiful and super successful in life. And over the years, somebody, like, occasionally I'll have somebody dangle like street meth in front of me, and they're like, hey, come date this person. And all it ends up doing is making me like miserable and unhappy in life. Which it's like a terrible analogy because A, I don't actually believe in doing drugs, and B, I've never done drugs. So like there's just like so many pieces of it, but it's just the only thing I can equate it to, because I feel like somebody that's never known love or truly been able to experience that beauty, you don't really know what you're missing, right? But I know what I'm missing. And two years ago, in walked Todd. And Todd taught me that my heart can love deeply again. Being with Todd awoke something inside of me that I was worried would never be alive again. And it's hard because people have told me for years that I need to stop talking so much about Jeremy, and I need to let go of Jeremy before I'm going to be able to love again. And I just kind of I've gotten to a point where I'm more confident about just being like, thank you for the advice. And you have no idea what you're talking about, because I have a lot of capacity in my heart. And I remember a moment with Todd when we first started dating, and we met one of his colleagues, and it came up about the story of Jeremy, and she looked at him, and this is such a raw moment of people's thought processes, and she looked at him and said, aren't you kind of worried like that she can't love you like she loved him? Or I can't remember what she said exactly, but it was that, because it's the thought that everybody has, right? Like, can I love anybody else as much as I love Jeremy? And I will never forget the way Todd paused and said, and literally put his hand on my heart and goes, there is plenty of room in her heart for both him and me. And there definitely is room for both of them in my heart. But unfortunately, last weekend, Todd and I called it quits. Because I've learned that it takes a lot more than just strong love to truly make a relationship work. And I think Todd is an amazing man, and I know that I will always love him, but he's like Hollywood cocaine laced with just a little bit of meth. Because him and I together could not figure out how to do conflict well. And it was destroying both of us, I think. I know in a lot of ways it was wrestling in my heart pretty heavily, particularly this summer. You know, my emotional awakening has been big, and I was thinking about it and what I wanted to say about all this, because I'm so incredibly thankful for my time with Todd. It was actually Todd and I's really first big fight that got me back into therapy with Ashley. And over the next year and a half, Ashley and I would uncover a lot of my really deep inner triggers that made it hard for me to show up well in a relationship. And I'm still working on those. There's no part of me that thinks I didn't contribute to the end of Todd and I's relationship. But unfortunately, particularly the past 3 months, I got to a point where I was really able to recognize how unhealthy certain patterns were for Todd and I in conflict. And I was continuing to try to rewrite some of those, almost to a fault. And I say that because I was trying to identify my part and help Todd really identify his part. And that emotional burden of helping somebody see what they need to do emotionally is something that I've been groomed to do my whole life, right? Like, I've talked about this a little bit of being raised in a household where I was taught that when the emotionally, I don't want to say unstable, but when there are people that don't handle emotions in a healthy manner, my job is to be the bigger person and to just kind of take it because I'm the bigger person. And I don't think I realized just how much I had stepped into this role with Todd of trying to help him figure out the barriers that were preventing him from showing up well. So not only was I trying to uncover my own and heal my own, but I was trying to help him. It didn't go well. There were times when Todd seemed really appreciative and kind to all the things that I've taught him, but man, particularly this summer, it really felt like he had stopped doing the work and that he was resenting me for a lot of it. And the fight that broke us, he kept telling me that I expected perfectionism from him, and I don't. I know that I don't, but I expected progress. And I don't want to sit here and talk bad about Todd because he truly is an amazing man, and he taught my heart that I can love again. Ooh, I don't know if I have the capacity for all of this again, right? But isn't that the risk of love, right? Loving deeply is risking losing deeply, and my heart hurts right now from losing Todd. So I'm going to talk about what I've learned out of this relationship that I do need if my heart ever gets the chance to love again. I know at this point that I need somebody that is comfortable being the primary caregiver to their own emotions, right? So instead of being like, you are annoying, because there are going to be days when your partner annoys you, they have the emotional maturity to say, man, I was really annoyed the other day, and I think this is what was going on with me. I need somebody that doesn't say really hurtful things when they're angry with me, right? I teach Everett all the time. You can be angry and you can be mad at me. You do not get to be mean, and you do not get to be disrespectful. Those things go with your partner too, right? Like, there are going to be times when your partner upsets you, and there are going to be times when your partner annoys you, but it doesn't give you this blanket, I don't know, to be mean, right? To say mean things, to use knowledge that you have about your partner to cut them down. I need somebody that doesn't do that. I also need somebody that can say what they mean and mean what they say. There's this piece where it had gotten to a point, especially with this last fight, where I couldn't trust if what Todd said outside of the fight or in the fight was real. And that broken trust it was too much. It was too much. And that's it. Oh, and I need to be able to fart in front of my partner. So I developed this theory during the messy years, and as I talk about some of my heartaches over the years, I feel like I'll tell you this. And listen, I know that there are people out there that heard me just say that and you are appalled. And that's okay. Okay? That is not what you need. And to each their own. But here's the piece. I need a partnership or a relationship where my partner and I are so comfortable with each other that we can rip ass and not worry about it. Yeah, that's the level of comfort that I need with my partner. I had that with Todd. Todd had that with me. There's this like piece where I have worked so hard this past year to correct the demon dialogue in my head that I am unlovable. Because there have been people in my story from the very beginning, and I am thinking of my father particularly, that pretty much just told me to be less emotional, be less loud. Like, be less of a person and you will be lovable. And, like, tiptoe around my ego, tiptoe around my temper, and maybe I'll love you if you stop making me angry. Well, I'm never going to stop making you angry because you're not taking the time to heal the parts of you that I'm triggering. Bottom line. And I think this is like the final piece of my emotional awakening. Maybe not the final. Y'all, I think we're always on an emotional awakening through life, right? But there's this part, this might be the really big piece of me that's been building this past year, is this realization that it is okay for me to walk away from people that are putting that emotional burden on me. Stop being annoying and I won't lose my temper with you. Stop asking so many questions and I'll stop losing my temper. Be less and I won't lose my temper with you. Nope. You know what? If you are upset with me, then you can sit down and say, I am feeling this, and your actions contribute to it because of this piece of it. And you can give me the benefit of the doubt that I am not intending to hurt you. I am not wanting to be somebody that hurts my partner, right? Like, there's so many parts of this. And anyways, I'm kind of rambling and I feel like my heart is messy. My heart and my mind are messy right now. So you're getting a messy episode in all of this. But the bottom line is, I called it quits with Todd, and it hurts. It hurts because I did love him. I do love him. And I keep hearing the I Will Always Love You song in my head. We all know it from Whitney Houston, but really it's a Dolly Parton song, and Gabby Barrett has like a beautiful rendition of it. And there's this part where it's like, I know that I will always love Todd, but by being with Todd right now, I am only in the way of his emotional healing. But damn, he was a good man, and I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him a lot. And I pray for him that he uses this time to like really identify, well, he needs to get real about how he shows up in conflict. And then, him and I have even talked about it, like how he shows up in those moments. I don't believe that's the man he wants to be. I really don't. And I don't think it is who he is, but it's how he's showing up for me. And I can't do it anymore. And I don't know. I just pray that he takes this time to heal what he needs to heal. So maybe the next time he decides to really love somebody, he can show up in conflict and show that love. I don't know. And you guys, I'll be honest. When he would lose his shit, it triggered everything in me, and I fight back because I also grew up in a household where I never felt like anybody else stood up for me and protected me. And so I am quick to react. I feel like I got better at that, actually being calmer and being able to show love even though he was being hurtful. But definitely there are some things that were said by both of us, but I am far from blameless on this breakup, and I know that. But like I said, I think we were destroying each other. So, I don't know. Just feels heavy. Feels messy. And I have a lot of fear in my heart, again, about being alone. But then again, I don't. I don't know. There's been this piece out of all of this where, loving Todd taught me I can love again. Like, I can love deeply when the right person comes along. Like, truly, I can. And I know I'm capable of that. Maybe I just need, like, Jason Sudeikis to, like, you need a good Midwestern Kansas City girl, Jason. Here I am. I'm just kidding. It's really just this character, Ted Lasso, that, like, I need that, like, confident and emotionally mature man to, like, come in and love me. I don't know if that exists. Maybe that is expecting too much, but man, I'd rather hold out for that than settle for somebody that can talk to me with such hurtful words when they're angry. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I'm going through a breakup. And I know that I kind of seem a little lighthearted about it right now, but this is also like the fourth time I've tried to record the podcast today, because this is hard, and I've cried so much this week, and I do really miss him. I don't know, but I'm really comfortable being alone. Right? Like there's been this strange piece of this week where although I really miss him, I have a certain calm that what I'm doing is the right thing to do. And so I'm okay. I'm okay with the loneliness, which has been surprising because last fall, Todd and I had a good 3-month break, and I was a wreck. I was an absolute mess without him. And there's this piece where, like, thinking about it this week, I think out of all the work I've done this past year, trying to figure out how to show up better for Todd, what I really did was I figured out how to show up better for myself and love myself. And with the right partner, that's gonna be really beautiful someday. But right now, what it's allowing me to do is just be comfortable in the hurt, right? And be comfortable in missing him, but also have confidence that it's the right thing to do right now, because I am only in the way by loving him. Yeah, I don't know if any of that makes sense. I will tell you that on top of that, and starting a new job, on Wednesday, I got the really devastating news that a close family friend of another family that was really close with Jeremy and I in Georgia. They're one of the families that will frequently come to Tybee with us. They lost their 19-year-old son on Tuesday night to just a really tragic accident. And God, my heart just breaks for them. And I will tell you that anytime I hear of a story of grief, especially if it's one in my circle and close to me, it kind of rips off that Band-Aid of the pain of losing Jeremy and the pain of just knowing grief, right? And that is hard to explain. But I'm traveling this weekend to go see them for the funeral, and it's just a lot. My heart is going through a lot, y'all. It just seems like a lot right now. Spending a lot of time in prayer, spending a lot of time crying, spending a lot of time taking care of myself, working out. You know, it's funny, I had like a really good revenge workout on like Wednesday morning, and then I worked out on Friday, and it just was sad because I'm sad. I don't know, but coming back and remembering the things I know. You know, today at church, our pastor actually talked about how, like, he doesn't understand why we go through storms, but what he knows is God's always with us. And there's this reminder through this like challenging time that I'm going through right now that I've gone through every hard thing I've ever been through, and I'm going to get through this too. I'm going to find my own hope again. You know, I lost hope in the relationship with Todd, but I don't know. I don't know if I still have hope for another love story, or if I just have hope for peace. I don't know anymore. I think if there's one thing I know, I'm just done writing the plan. And I'm just going to trust that it's going to shake out the way it's supposed to. I don't know, guys. It's messy, and I'm scatterbrained, and I think because of that, I'm gonna hit pause next weekend. So I travel, and it's gonna be a heavy travel weekend, and I'm gonna give my heart a little bit of time to just sort through the mess, come back to myself, and then I'm actually looking forward to continuing the story about Jeremy. Jeremy and I becoming parents, right? But there's this piece where right now my heart is always grieving for Jeremy, but now I'm off. I'm also grieving for Todd. But man, I also think of myself as lucky that I did get to love again. Just makes me sad that it feels like Todd and I ended unnecessarily. I don't know. So, I'll continue. Here's what I always would tell my students, right? Is like, when you're going through the hard moments, you have to come back to who you are. Who are you and who do you want to be, right? And I know that I am a kind person. I know that I try my hardest to show up for those that need me. I am strong, and I want to be a good mother. I want to be a good nurse. I want to be a good friend, and I would love to be a good partner to the right person. Even just saying those things out loud, I'm like, that's it. Focus on that. Focus on that. And Todd made it really clear in conflict that he just didn't feel like I was the right partner for him. And I don't know if those words were real or if those words were shot at me in anger. Regardless, they were said. And so, yeah, I'm going to guard my heart. I'm going to come back and focus on what I know how to do. And this is the time in my life where I like to pause and just find peace in the things that bring me comfort, right? A long hot bath, a walk with my dog, time with Everett. Everett and I golfed yesterday, and it was just good. It was just good for my heart, right? I get to go to work tomorrow and learn this new job that makes my heart feel full. And it's about the next step. It just makes me, I'm still just really sad it's not with Todd. Yeah, I will miss him. I will miss him. I'm going to figure out how to grieve somebody that lives in the same town. Pray for me as I get ready to travel for this funeral. Pray for the family that's going through their worst nightmare. You guys, there's this piece about stay classy and choose love that just continues to bring my heart a little bit of humbleness and joy. You know, the humbleness of it is I have to dive into my own emotions in order to be able to articulate them with you, right? And then also the humbleness of how much love I get out of it. I have the most amazing people that continue to surround me and love me in a pretty consistent basis. I'm pretty blessed in that way. So there's just this part, and I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks just focusing on me, and then I am really going to look forward to picking up the story of Jeremy and I being parents in 2 weeks. In the meantime, I hope all of you stay classy and choose love.